Hi everyone, I'm Todd Nauck. Welcome back to the Art of Todd Nauck Show, Episode 3. Let's see, today I plan to do a Thanos post-it note sketch on a purple post-it note because his skin is purple, so we'll just work with that. So if your first time seeing one of my broadcasts, welcome. I like to draw. I draw professionally. I'm a comic book artist. I draw for mostly Marvel Comics right now, but I've done work for DC, Image, lots of the other publishers. In fact, my latest comic book is Deadpool Too Soon. Issue 1 comes out October 19th, so be sure to add that to your pull list. So what I'm going to do is plug into the rig, start drawing, and if you have questions, feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer if I can. Can't always promise that I'm able to catch every question, but I appreciate all the questions and support, and thank you for your understanding. So welcome everyone who's entering into the broadcast. Glad you're here, and let's get drawn and have some fun. All right, we on screen there? Let me just tilt this a little bit. Excellent. Make sure we're focused. This afternoon for you? Yeah, it's morning here on the West Coast. I'm here in Southern California, so it's still morning time for us. Good evening from the Netherlands. Welcome, Netherlands. Hi, Carrie. Next stop, Warlock on a yellow one. Warlock, Adam Warlock. Unless you mean Warlock, the New Mutant. Both of those would work on a yellow post-it note. Who's my favorite Green Lantern? Wow. I like all the Green Lanterns, especially the four of Earth. But I had to say, if I had to pick one that's my favorite, I have to say Guy Gardner because I'm a big Justice League International fan. So I loved Guy Gardner in that series. I love that he's such a jerk. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like Hal, I like Kyle, I like John, but Guy, I think, has to be my favorite. Let's see, what made me start doing post-it note art, and have I ever considered doing a post-it note art giveaway? It all started about, I guess it's been 2 years almost. I was looking to do a warm-up sketch to start the day, kind of shake off the cobwebs, and I just wanted to do a small, quick sketch. So I figured a small piece of paper would limit how much time I spent on the art. So I grabbed the smallest smallest piece of paper in my office that I could draw on, and that was a pack of red post-it notes. So I whipped up a Spidey, posted it, and it got favorable response. And so a while later I did another one, and people enjoyed that, and it just started to become a thing. So that's kind of how it started. And you can see a full album of every post-it note sketch I've done here on my Facebook page in an album called Post-it Note Sketches. So be sure to check those out. You can see the very first Spider-Man one and every one since then. I've almost done 300 of these. And I have done Post-it Notes giveaways. They're called Post-it Note Sketch Raffles. Every now and again, when I have the time, I will post an update saying it's time for a Post-it Note Sketch Raffle. People are welcome to reply naming one character suggestion, one single character, and then I'll use a random number generator after a given maybe 15 minutes. I have the request line open. After those 15 minutes, I randomly choose one of those suggestions with a random number generator, and that person will get their suggestion drawn on a Post-it note and sent out to them. And I hope to do another Post-it note giveaway sometime, either here on Facebook, the Art of Todd Nauck Facebook page, or my Twitter, or my Instagram. Those are the three places I will randomly do those Post-it note giveaways. So it's been a while since I've done one, but you never know when another giveaway might crop up. Good morning, Locke. Good morning, Antonio. Welcome. So today I wanted to draw the Infinity Gauntlet. And so we're going to start with the Infinity Gems right now. In the ink stage here, we've got the pencils all done, and I've roughed in where each knuckle is, each gem, and the ones here on the thumb and the center of the hand. And I'm going to now use my ellipse template to start inking them in first, since they're in the foreground. Hello, Imrana. Welcome. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. You're drawing John Constantine right now. I have not drawn him on a Post-it note. No, I have not. In fact, I'm not sure if I've ever drawn Constantine. All right, so I started with the 08 for the initial housing for the gem, and now I'm going to use a smaller tipped pen to ink the actual gem inside of each housing with the 01, if I hadn't mentioned that just now. Do I use any specific Post-it notes or just regular? They're you're pretty much your run-of-the-mill Post-it note brand Post-it notes, but I also, I'll use just about any Post-it note that I can find. Well, this one here on the thumb is kind of at an odd angle, so it's kind of a different shaped ellipse, which I'll have to freehand to get the right dimension. Appreciate the likes. Thanks for the support, gang. What do I think about how Thanos has been used in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far? It's definitely building up anticipation. So I look forward to the next movies and the Infinity War. I think it should be really exciting. So I prefer microns or just use whatever is around. I use microns. I also use Copic multiliners as well. Zebra brush pens, disposable brush pens. Though Pigma Micron now makes a brush pen that I really like, even better than the Zebras. So I might start getting more of those instead of the Zebras. I like Zebras because they're inexpensive and they're easy to get. If you live here in Southern California, at the Daiso Japan dollar stores, actually $1.50 stores, but it's easier to say dollar stores, even though I just took the time to explain that they're $1.50, and I could have just said that from the onset, but who's ever heard of a $1.50 store when a dollar store is a more common title, but I'm getting way off track. So, yeah, I do like to use microns. Do I ever eat nervous doing these in front of an audience? I don't eat while I do my broadcasts. I think chewing while on camera and trying to talk would probably be kind of gross. So no, I haven't eaten during one of my broadcasts. But a very interesting question. Have I ever drawn Blade? I have not drawn Blade. At least not on a Post-it. Do I ever get nervous? Get nervous. Oh my gosh, that makes more sense. It's like, because there are nervous eaters out there. There are people that are nervous eaters. So I thought you were referring to that kind of condition. Do I ever get nervous? Not terribly nervous. Not like a debilitating nervousness. No. Do I get kind of amped up? A bit. I do get a bit amped. Just because I'm excited to get drawn and to see everyone. Well, interact with everyone, I guess. Y'all can see me, but I can't really see you. I can see your comments and stuff, but nervous? No, not too nervous. Thanks for the kind words. Thank you, gang. Have I ever drawn apocalypse on one of my post-it note? Yes, I think there is an apocalypse in the post-it note album here on my Facebook Art of Todd Nauck Facebook fan page. So yes, I'm pretty sure I have drawn an apocalypse once. At least I seem to have a memory of that. I'd have to go back and look myself. But I'm pretty sure I have. I have not used the polychromos markers. I have not. This is my first time hearing of them. Are they a good marker? When will the recent Post-it videos be on YouTube? I believe the Wolverine one from last week should be up on my YouTube channel today. And these will start posting a bit more frequently. At least I'm going to shoot for two a week to start going up. And if I start doing a lot of broadcasts, then they'll probably go up on YouTube even more frequently than that. So, but the first of the batch that I've been doing here since I got back from London, Wolverine from my Periscope broadcast should be up today. Who inspired me to become an artist? I guess I'd have to say, to become an artist, to draw in general, would have to be my mom. My mom, I think, was my first inspiration, aside from just loving to put pencil line on paper. Back when I was a little kid, one of my earliest memories was sitting on the couch with my mom with one of those little golden book children's storybooks, and I was scribbling in it, and my mom sat there with me, and she started drawing stick figures in the book. And And I just remember having this really fun time with my mom, just scribbling in this book, and her drawing these stick figures and these little figures, these little men, coming to life on the paper. Um, it was just she'd draw them, walking, running, putting a hat on one or whatever, and it was just. Sorry, we lost connection there. Hopefully, we'll stay connected for the rest of this broadcast. But it was so fun seeing these little people come to life on the page, and it was such a fun experience for me. I think that was one of the times that I was inspired by someone else to do art. That'd probably be the first time. Another time when I was younger, I asked my dad to draw Spider-Man for me. So I wish I still had that drawing. I still have the little children's book my mom and I drew in. It was called The Diddle Daddle Duckling. I still have that, thankfully. I was probably around age 3 from that one time. But later on, I think I was maybe 6 or 7. I asked my dad to draw Spider-Man, and he drew a Spider-Man for me. It was just so amazing to see it come to life on the page. So that was another time I was inspired by another person's art. But I've always had an innate love for putting lines on paper. Let's see, where's my eraser? Here we go. Do I have any advice on rendering and drawing metal? It's kind of a big question there because there's all different types of metal. But, it just depends on the type of metal. Is it fresh, clean, pristine like steel, like Colossus, or is it like really rusted out metal like the Flash villain Gridiron? So you have to consider the type of metal, the type of texture. Look at real metal. Look at metal and see how it reflects. See the shapes, the curves of it. If it's old rusted metal, how is it all gnarled, and what are the textures there? And then, so working off of real life can really help. So let's see. I finished the inks here, and now it's time to fill in the black areas. I like to fill in the black areas after I have finished the basic line work. Just makes it easier during the erasing process. So I'm using the Pentel Pocket Brush pen here to fill in the black. Thanks for all the questions, gang. Sorry I can't get a chance to answer them all, but I'll do my best. As soon as I get it finished spotting these blacks here, I'll see if I can catch another one of these questions. Thanks for the comments, gang. Had to scroll back to see one of the questions. Have I ever faced any challenges or struggles in deciding to pursue my career as a comic artist? Sure, yes. Yes, I mean, there's just the continual going to conventions, showing your portfolio, getting critiques, getting brutal critiques, getting rejection letters, trying to make a living while trying to break in the industry, working part-time jobs. So all sorts of struggles. Yeah. What's my favorite character to draw? Just superheroes in general. I love drawing superheroes. Some of my favorite superheroes are the ones that like I grew up with, that are my favorite superheroes. So like the X-Men are some of my all-time favorites. So I'm going to start with some V15 here to start in on his skin tone. How can you submit your portfolio to Marvel or DC? Go to the Marvel or DC websites or social media accounts and check their frequently asked questions, or if they have a submission page tab on their website would probably be the first step. It's a whole new era of breaking into comics than when I was trying to break in. When I broke in, the internet was not made public yet. So my only option was to go to comic book conventions or snail mail. And but now with the internet and social media, you have a lot more options. So that would probably be your first and best bet. But if there's a major convention near you that the publishers will be at, that is really good to attend with your portfolio so that you can meet editors face to face and start to develop a relationship. How long did it take to create Wildguard from concept to first issue? That's a unique question because I created Wildguard while I was still in art school. And it just started off as creating a bunch of characters. It was probably a few months later that I did my first mini comic. My homemade mini comic I made at a copy shop. I took in the pages and printed them on a Xerox machine, handed them out to my friends. But by the time the actual first issue came out, over the course of that time, I got hired by Rob Liefeld. Oh, that was a little V06 there. I just added to his face, and now I'm going to come in with some, come on out, marker, BV34 for some heavier shadows. I worked for Rob Liefeld, worked for DC Comics. I broke into the industry full time, so I was more focused on working out for different publishers at that time. And doing the series Young Justice. When I finished Young Justice was when I decided to bring my creator-owned property that I already done mini comics of back before I broke into the industry. So that was in 2003 that I decided to do the first issue, the first Wildguard official comic book. So where do I keep all my drawings after I'm done with them? Do I hang them up or just put them in a drawer? Many of them are sold. Some of them are put in portfolios and sold at conventions. Some are sold over the internet, and then some I keep for my personal collection. What do I use to color? For my commission and warm-up sketches, I use Copic sketch markers or watercolor. I don't color my own comics. How many times have I drawn Thanos since 2012? About a dozen times, I'd say, at least. So let's see. So we got the skin tones in. Let's now color the gold parts of his costume, his uniform. So I'm going to start with some Y19 because it's kind of a orangey gold. So this is just kind of my base color here, starting off with a yellow. Can I broadcast doing a comic panel? Some days. I've had a lot of people ask about how to draw or lay out comic book panels and pages, so that's a bit more of an in-depth process, so that will take a bit more preparation and research for me to see how I can pull that off well. So it'll be a while before I can do one of those. Right now my work deadlines are keeping me from doing that kind of research, but someday. Stay tuned. Someday that will happen if I feel I can get it done right and accurately. How do I come up with dynamic poses? Exaggeration. You imagine a person punching. What does that look like in real life? And then you extend things further. It takes a lot of practice. Takes a lot of practice. So that was a Y19. Now this is a YR12. Kind of a lighter orange that I'm coming in here with. So look at real life for your poses. See how the human form actually moves, and then start exaggerating that. So if you're drawing a person punching, you really want to over exaggerate that punch. Not too far, I mean, it all depends on your style. If you're more realistic, you're more cartoony, but you're gonna consider what's the follow through. Because you're having to convey a moment in time in comics. Does it bother me if a colorist changes my initial lines? Really, the colorists don't really change the line work. They add color to it, but the colorist really can't. I have not ever experienced or even have heard of colorists changing the line art. Um, so they pretty much work with the lines I have put down, and they're using the shapes that are created to render. Now, they might do a color hold where they take the line art of maybe like the gems, and they make the blue gem a blue line around it, and the red gem a red line around it. And those are cool effects because then it makes it look more ethereal, I guess would be the word I'd use, or kind of like they're glowing so much that you don't see the black lines, you see the colored line art. So when colors do that, I love it. I love when they put that extra time and attention into the effects that they can do in computer coloring. So that I really enjoy, and sometimes I will suggest, hey, could you do a color line hold on a color hold on these lines or those lines. But as far as them like changing the lines of the fist here to where it's like a completely different shape, that's never happened. When I'm at a convention, do I get to wander Artist Alley and check out the local talent? Sometimes, not frequently, not as much as I would like. Conventions tend to be so busy for me. Let's see, that was a YR27 that I used there for the darker shade of orangish brownish that I used. And now I'm coming in with some B45. So for the blue, I don't really get a chance to walk the convention floor as much as I would like, and get to explore the other artists' tables and setups as much as I would like. Unfortunately, so much of my time is spent at my table just trying to get my commissions done. So yeah, but I do appreciate when people stop by my table to say hi. But I try to stop by a few tables whenever I can. Like if I get up to take a break, get something to eat or something, as I'm passing back and forth, I try to say a few quick hellos if I can. But too often I'm trapped there at the table, drawing my hand off. I was going to say draw my butt off, but I guess I sit my butt off. But yeah, starting to get a little off topic. But yeah, thanks for the question. So I just used a B14. Now I'm coming in here with some B12. B12, not only one of my favorite shades of blue in the Copic color collection, but also my favorite vitamin. Let's see, so now I got to color the gems here. So I've got reference here, so I get the right colored gem in the right spot. So we're going to start with the pinky, and that is the orange gem. So I'm using some YR68. I'm going to shape that out with a little YR27 again. See, next up is the purple gem, pinkish purplish gem. So I'm going to use some RV66. Okay, this little yeah, this is actually working. Wasn't sure this is the right shade, but I'm liking that. I'm going to come in with some V06. See, the next gem is a according to my reference here, blue. So I'm going to do B12. And rounding that out with some B14. So I don't know if that shows up as well on screen there, but it kind of trying to create a kind of bulbous shape to the gem. Let's see. Then the index finger is yellow, so we're going to go with the Y08. Y08? Why not 08? That's what I always say. Always, and I never don't not say that. And then some Y19 here to shape that out. Let's see, then the gem on the thumb is the red gem, so we're going to go with R24. R24? R024. I guess that joke doesn't work as well. What percentage of the time do I draw from memory and use reference? I'd probably say 75% of the time I draw from memory, 43% of the time I draw from reference. And those numbers just aren't good enough. I really don't. I don't know. I would say I don't know if I could percentage it out. A lot of it is just drawing straight out of my head, but I use reference on things that I'm not familiar with drawing. Like if I had to draw like a helicopter or a cow or a building or a certain character's costume I've never drawn before, or if I have the muscles pulling in a certain pose that is a new angle that I need to figure out how did the muscles shape. So the last gem here is green, so I'm going to use some YG03. And then coming in with some YG45 to shape that out some. Cacao. Favorite MCU movie? Favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie? I like a lot, man. I like a lot of them. I've enjoyed the Iron Man movies. Guardians of the Galaxy was fun. I've enjoyed the Avengers movies. So I don't know if I can say I have a favorite, but I will say I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man in Civil War. That I just thought that was so much fun. Cannot wait for his movie. Alright, so I've got all the main colors in. Now it's time to drop in some gray tones here. So I'm going to take a little C4 to add some more shadows. Grid out the shadows on Thanos' face. And we'll use the same shade here in the blues, since they're both cool colors, using cool gray. And let's take some warm gray, some warm 3 for the gold here. Am I ever going to use other paper other than Post-its? Maybe. Right now, due to my work deadlines, these warm-up sketches are faster for me to draw in the day, so I can get to work. But when I have more time, I do draw. Let's say I do draw pieces on larger pieces of paper, usually 9x12s or sketch covers. So stay tuned. Those broadcasts will be coming hopefully sooner than later. But right now, Post-its are quicker and easier, and people seem to enjoy them. I hope you guys are enjoying the Post-it note videos. Can I draw Robin? Can I ever? I drew him for 5 years in Young Justice and then another 5 years in Teen Titans Go, so yeah, I pretty much know how to draw Robin. Great character. Do I ever find myself with artist block, and how do I get out of that? Great question. A question I get fairly frequently. So let's see. That's a bit of a heavy question. Firstly, to answer your question, coming back to the C4 to add some more depth to the gems here. Some C4 for the cool gems, cool colored gems. So yes, I do get artist blocks sometimes. What do I do to battle that? Depends on what's going on. Am I tired? Then I need to, or hungry? Then I need to recharge, refuel. So I'll take a nap, get a good night's rest. If it's, time to call it a night, eat something, come back, and hopefully I have a fresh eye. Am I discouraged? Am I comparing my work to someone else's work? Then I need to change my attitude and remember that only I can draw what I can draw, and to bring that to the table or the art world. So not to compare my work to someone else's work. I can be inspired or challenged to do better by other people's work, but not to compare my work. So this is a little warm gray 5 here to shape out these gems, these warmer colored gems, the red, yellow, and orange gems. And then lastly, it's like, do I need to try something new? Do I need to challenge myself in a new way, try working in a new medium, or do something I haven't done before, so it gets me thinking in new ways. So those are just a few ways that you could possibly battle artist block. So I think I have enough time to pull this off, so I'm going to go for it. It's going to be a simpler version. A lot of people have asked how I create those space nebulas in the background. Now this will be on purple paper, so it's not going to be as vibrant as you see on the white paper that I've done these types of commissions on. But I'll go ahead and give it a try here on this one, just so you can kind of get the basic idea of how those come about. But it is going to look a little different than what you've seen on my past commissions because of the purple paper. So, so what I do first, now what I did is I looked up reference of Space Nebula. In fact, I'm going to do that right now, since I'm done with my Infinity Gauntlet reference. So I'm going to pull up Space Nebula here on my iPad. So I pull up imagery like this. Oh, look at that, space, the final frontier, and all that jazz. So I look at the imagery of the Space Nebula, and then I find one that kind of looks like what I'd want, like something like this one right here. And I look at all the different colors. I see reds, I see blues, I see purples, a little bit of orange in there, where the colors kind of meet and merge. But then there's also these sorts of black and gray. So what I do first is drop in some black chunks. And I don't fill up the whole page with space. I just create kind of a space cloud behind the character. Oftentimes it's Thanos or a Guardians of the Galaxy character because they're super spacey. Alright, so I've dropped in some black chunks. Then I grab some of the colors that I see in there. So we see some sort of kind of a red, so let's go with some R24. We'll make this a red cluster. So I'm pulling the red through the black. So the red is now starting to blend with the black. It starts to get muddy. I want that muddied sort of vibe. And I want to put some red on this side here as well. I just kind of drop it in, let the red touch the black, let the red go into the black area. And then there's some blue in there, so let's grab a shade of blue. Now this isn't going to be as vibrant as it would be if it was on white paper. But this is your first sneak peek into how I do this. Put some blue in there. And then there was some orange, so let's grab a shade of orange. That was the R24 for red, the B14 for blue. Grabbing some orange here, the YR16. And then I let the colors touch each other. I let them overlap the colors, let them blend together. So I want the red to mix with the orange to mix with the red and the blacks that I've put down. Let's put a little bit of yellow in here. You want to be careful that it doesn't get too skiddly. Looks, you know what? Actually, I don't want yellow. I'm going to stay away from the yellow since there's so much yellow in Thanos. So I'm grabbing kind of a blue-green here, a BG34. So I'm merging this into the colors I've laid down. Now again, this isn't going to be as vibrant as the stuff you've seen me post from convention sketches. But this is just going to kind of put a little bit of a subtle flavor in the background of this Thanos piece here. So let's grab some pink now. Let's try the RV13. Kind of blend it through there. Then what I do is I take some neutral gray, like a neutral gray 3 or lighter, and I start to blend the blacks through to those colors. So I want it really muddied and blended. Muddied might not be the right word for it, but I don't want them to be, you know, big patchy, like here's the blue patch, here's the red patch, here's the black patch. I don't want them all separated patches. I want them all blurred and blended, one going into the next. So actually I do want to use up a little bit more of that space. So we'll get a light shade of green here, the YG03. And just blend this there. I'm blending it into the purple and the grays I've just laid down. Let's get some more of that neutral going. So let's get that neutral 3 again. And just kind of bloop it out there. Bloop is the term I use. The bloop of the shape of that the brush tip gives is like a bloop. So happy little stars? Yes, Ken. We're going to Bob Ross this out with some happy little stars. Exactly. You know how I roll. So let's see. Before I do that, I want to finish Thanos' face. I've got his teeth. So what I do here is I put some gray in here. But you're like, wait, Todd, Thanos' teeth aren't gray. I want to create a shadow. But since this is on purple paper and not white paper, I use a darker shade of gray. So I can then come over and color it over it with white watercolor pencil. That dark shade of gray lightens up, but creates a nice light shade of gray to give a subtle shadow underneath. That's called working the steps. So, now it's time for the Uniball Signo white gel pen. Get it at jetpens.com. Tell them Todd Nauck sent you. It means absolutely nothing to them that you've told them I've sent you. But if enough people do it, it might freak them out. Like, who is this Todd Nauck and why is he sending all these people here? And I'll say, hey man, this is what I do. Now one thing I did want to do is add let's put a little gray here in the gem housings. Give it a little more depth. Where's that white watercolor pencil? Pardon me as I do a quick sharpening here. Need a really nice fine tip so I can add some white to give it a bit of a more of a metallic look. So the Uniball Signo white gel pen portion has been delayed for a moment, but now we resume. Sorry I've missed so many of your questions. I've been so focused here on the Space Nebula. It takes a lot of thought there. In Comic World, are inks touched up digitally and colors filled digitally? You look at someone like Ed McGuinness's work and it looks so clean. I know Mark Morales inks Ed's pencils. Now, is that touched up in digitally? I don't know. You'd have to ask Mark. Is it colored digitally? Yes. Pretty much most every Marvel comic is colored digitally unless it's like a painted comic, but I'd say a vast majority of their comics do appear to be digitally colored. All right, so let's add the the outline, and then the stars. So every Post-it note I do a white outline because I like how it gives the character pop off the page. And since the hand overlaps, I like the hand to really pop off from the character's face or body part or whatever it's overlapping. You'll notice that in any of the Post-its that feature a hand. I'd say almost all of them, if not all of them, have their own separate white outline. Just a stylistic choice. And now for his head. Mark Morales is an inking beast. Yes, I follow him on Instagram. Really great guy. Got a chance to chat with him at WonderCon LA earlier this year. He and Ed are a great pairing. Alright, so still got some more effects to do. But right now let's drop in the stars. So I try to put different size dots, even if it's subtle, for the stars. And I like to clump groups together. It's hard to draw in a truly chaotic pattern, but you don't want every star equidistant from the other. You don't want it to look like a polka dot pattern. You want clusters and then big breaks in between the clusters. So it looks as chaotic as possible. And then adding some larger stars, but being careful not to make them all equidistant, because that would be boring. Now, if I were doing this like on a regular illustration, I would use a brush and liquid frisket, and I would splatter. It's a technique that's on one of my YouTube videos on my YouTube channel, on how to create a star pattern with a liquid frisket, and that creates a truly chaotic pattern, because it's that flecked rubber frisket. Can't explain how frisket works here in this video, so make sure you look up that video on my YouTube channel. But it makes it more chaotic, which I prefer, as opposed to drawing in the star patterns, which will not be truly, whoops, let's try to keep this on screen if I will, truly chaotic. Okay, so while I wait for this to dry, I'm going to give this just a minute or two to dry. I'll see if I can catch some of the questions I missed. Is there anyone how you would love to draw? I'm assuming you're asking, is there any character that I would love to draw? Yeah, lots. I mean, characters I've worked with, I want to work with again, or characters I haven't worked with before that I would like to work with for the first time. Like more X-Men stuff, definitely. Flash, Fantastic Four, Green Lantern would be fun to do some work on. Avengers type stuff, so yeah, definitely a lot. Do I do commissions outside of conventions? Yes, I do, when I have the time. So I have a wait list. It is a long wait list. A wait for one of my studio commissions is a very long wait, unfortunately. So it's good to email me now to get on that list, and when your name reaches the top of my queue, then I send you an email with all the different specifics of what of the sizes of commissions that I do, the prices, and then we find out what you want. If you want extra characters, backgrounds, inks, colors, cover recreation. Then I quote you a final price and of what I could do for what you're looking for. And if that works for you, we move forward from there. You send over a payment via PayPal, I draw it up, and then send it out. So you can email me at mail@wildguard.com. And that's MAIL at WILDGUARD.com. And yeah, that's the way to go to get on my commission list. Like I said, it's a long wait, and then the wait depends on my work and travel schedule. And this year has been crazy busy for me. The past 2-3 years have been crazy busy for me, working on Nightcrawler and then Spider-Man and Deadpool. That I haven't had time to work on commissions because, you know, I've got to actually draw the comics. So that can really slow me down. But when I do have free time, I try to tackle as many commissions as I'm able in the free time that I have allotted. So it is worthwhile to get on my list if you're interested. Just know that it will be a long wait. So now it's time to do some extra effects here. So first off is I want to put the gleam in Thanos' eye here. So I'm using my triangle here, drafting tool, to ensure I get as straight of a line as possible. Gotta give that a moment to dry. Do not want to smudge the ink. So we got that going on. Please draw Reverse Flash. Maybe someday. I'll add him to the long, long list of suggested characters. Put some gleams here in the Gauntlet. Give those a moment to dry, and then I'll do the same X effect for them. You always stop by my booth when you're at a con that I'm at. Oh, I appreciate that. Am I ever going to do more Wild Guard again? There is a short story that I'm working on that I'm penciling, inking, and watercoloring, but I haven't been able to work on it much this year because of all my Marvel work. The Spider-Man series, the Amazing Spider-Man and Silk Spider-Fly effect, those 4 issues are out on stands now, and then the Deadpool series I'm working on, Deadpool 2 soon. Issue 1 comes out October 19th. So those have been keeping me really busy, have not been able to work on Wild Guard. So I think we're dry enough there. Oh, just a little bit more. Just need a little bit more. Thank you for the kind words, gang. Glad you like what you're seeing. See, is that good? Okay. So sorry for the delay, gang. Alright, so we're going to kind of cut at a slightly different angle than his eye here. Come on. Pen. Get the flow going. There we go. Well, then we got the red gem over here. I almost forgot the red gem. And then that's going to take a moment to dry. Thanks for your patience, gang. Can't rush a illustration with heavy gel pen work in it, because if I were to just immediately go and put my triangle down on the wet ink, it would smear it, smudge it, and that would be incredibly disappointing. Uh-oh, the Texan in me is coming out, my Texas accent. Disappointing that I would have done such a major smudge after all that work. Who's my favorite Spidey villain to draw? Would probably be Sandman, because there's so much you can do with that sand texture. It's really fun to draw that sand texture. Let's see, how are we looking on? Yep, okay, that's looking like we're good. I still want to be careful, but looks like we're dry enough for the next series of lines. Yep. Got to prime the pen again. You want a very light touch when you're using the gel pen if you want that flow to come out. You can't be too heavy-handed. Kind of have to let it. You have to learn the right amount of pressure to give. And that takes a little bit of practice. To get the flow just right, the right speed, the right amount of pressure. To get the flow just right. And there we go. That is the shine effect. Now I just need to get my 0-1 here. Let's see, we'll just sign right up here in this upper corner here where I left some open space. And there we go. There's Thanos on a post-it note. Probably one of my more detailed, in-depth post-it notes I've done. I think this is probably one of the most detailed post-it notes I've done so far for my collection. So I want to say thanks for tuning in. Let me flip around here and we can, I'll answer a few questions of anyone that I might have, I'm sure I missed a lot of. So let me flip around and readjust the rig here. And there we go, gang. So, who's my favorite Spidey villain to draw? We asked that. Have I seen your... I have not seen your drawing of me on Twitter yet. No, I don't think I have. What type of gel pen did I say that was? That was the Uniball Signo white gel pen. Who's my all-time favorite artist? I would probably say it would be Arthur Adams. Arthur Adams, I discovered at age 15. I was 15. In the Web of Spider-Man Annual #2. Spider-Man and the New Mutants. Warlock specifically. And that's when I became an Arthur Adams fan, a Warlock fan. And I think Mike Mignola did a backup story in that. So that was a really awesome issue. If you ever find the Web of Spider-Man Annual #2, snag it. You will not be disappointed. And tell him Todd Nauck sent you. So yeah, Arthur Adams, I mean, I'm a fan of tons of artists, tons. You just check out my Instagram feed. You'll see all the artists that I like. Many of them being comic book artists and many of those people being pals of mine. So let's see. Most artists build up a large library of books for reference pre-internet. I'm guessing you did too. What happens to that library nowadays that almost everything is a mouse click away and space is in an office is limited? Yeah, probably a lot of the books, all the little magazine clippings I got rid of. Google image search, Google Maps, the Street View. I mean, I can go right to a place. One of the best experiences I had using the internet to draw was in Guarding the Globe, the book I did for Robert Kirkman. I think it was Guarding the Globe, or was it Invincible Universe? I can't remember which story it was. It's all the same characters, we just changed title names. But they had to go to France. They went to the specific area in France, Phil Hester wrote, and it was, you can find a photo of it, and that gives you an idea of that one shot of that location. But using the Street View of Google Maps, I was able to go there. I was able to turn the camera view so I could choreograph my scene knowing I could get the accurate background no matter the camera angle. So if the character's on this side and that's what we'd be seeing, when we flip the camera around for the other character, I could now see what would be on the other side of the street. So that was fantastic. Same thing, Mark Waid wrote a specific intersection in a Spider-Man story in New York City. I was able to go to that intersection here in California via Street View of Google Maps and get as accurate as possible the actual buildings and that whole locale. Had to change the name of the restaurants. Couldn't use the name of the restaurants for legal purposes, but because that's not allowed, so I had to change things up like that. But the actual shape of the buildings and structure made it really easy. So yeah, a lot of that I mean, the internet has definitely created a lot more space, so I can fill it up with action figures and comic books. What would I do if I was not an artist? I've gotten this question before on my Periscope broadcasts. This has been my standard answer. If I was not a comic book artist, not that I could actually pursue this as a career now, at least I don't think I could, maybe I could, I would want to be a Disney Channel sitcom dad. That's what I'd want to do. I'd want to be, right up there with Regan Burns and Billy Ray Cyrus. I'd want to be a Disney Channel sitcom dad. It sounds like 4 years of fun work. Do I know Robert Kirkman personally? I do know him personally. He's a really cool guy. It was great to work for him. He was very generous, very fun to work with. Great characters. The Invincible universe was a lot of fun to work in. So really had fun with that. So, what was the name of the book that I did my first work in? My first paid published work was, I was 21 years old, still in art school, and it was for, I think the lawn guys are here. We should probably wrap this up soon so you don't have to listen to the weed whacker. And I'm going to have to time these broadcasts better every other Tuesday. So it was What the number 21. It was an X-Men gag for the back cover called Mutant Mishaps. Sorry, my director's coming in with a note. Oh yeah, we just discussed that the gardeners were here. So, guys, I should probably wrap up because I do not want to compete with the gardeners here. So, yes, it was called What the issue number 21. So, gang, I'm going to sign off now. We'll broadcast again later. Episode 4 will probably be here before you know it. We can continue the Q&A. And, you can't hear the long guys. Really? Thank you, Carrie. Because to Dawn and I, it's just like blaring. I feel like I have to shout over them. So, can anyone else hear the lawn guys? And it sounds like they're going around the house, so thanks for the heads up, Carrie. I just assumed the mic was picking up everything, because it is like cacophonous in here for me. Barely. Okay, so it's not affecting it too much, so y'all can hear me over whatever sounds you're hearing there. So if I had to choose a superpower, what would it be? Telekinesis. I think telekinesis is the way to go, because you can lift things, you can kind of fly, you can do all sorts of stuff like that. So, yeah, telekinesis would be my choice. So I'll take one more question here, and then I got to go because I got to get drawn. I don't even know what time it is. That Thanos took longer than I thought. It's 10:23. I'm missing Olympics, and I need to be getting to work. Any chance to get an interview? You can email me, mail@wildguard.com, and we can discuss possibilities. Can't commit here on the broadcast, but you can email me. What's the deal with the pineapple in my convention shots? That is part of my cosplay. I take it you probably haven't seen a show called Psych. It was a show on USA, the USA Network. It's about a fake psychic detective. The character I'm cosplaying is Sean Spencer, and every episode has a hidden pineapple. And there was one episode where he actually brought a pineapple. The line is, "Are you a fan of delicious flavor?" So, yeah, that's what the pineapple's for. I'm actually cosplaying as one of my favorite TV characters, Sean Spencer from Psych, and that's why I'm doing this here. Got to practice getting that eyebrow raised. I got to strengthen those muscles. That's whenever he's using his fake psychic abilities. He's just actually observing something, a clue that no one else is getting. So that's it. What do I feel is the worst superpower? No superpower at all. That's the worst one, because then you don't have a superpower. That's the worst. Yeah. Gang, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for joining me. So much fun to get to hang out with y'all, to draw. I'll be posting this on all my social networks, so make sure you follow me on Art of Todd Nauck Facebook page. If you're already here, just go ahead and click like. It doesn't take you any time, and you hopefully will not miss future art broadcasts. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, DeviantArt. Just started a Snapchat, which I barely ever use. I think I've only snapped 1 or 2 chats. But you can follow me on all those networks, as well as my YouTube channel, which you might be watching this video on right now. Thanks again for hanging out. I think you guys are awesome, and I will hopefully see y'all again soon. All the best.